What's up, Jamie?
Howdy.
Green Room it is.
Green Room. New soundtrack.
I am indoors. Yeah, it's a pretty. I like this. This is called the cinematic music channel.
Tink was all fine until it was like, oh, it's live. Let everyone know.
I know.
I am
I got
right
it stand over here for the green room. So I actually do. I'm inside, but I actually have a furnace. Like, it does work in the house, but I have no hair, so I gotta wear this hat.
You don't want it all going out the top. Yep. Oh, you got the oven mitts. Are those oven mitts?
No, they're mittens.
Oh, okay, mittens. I haven't seen mittens.
It's like the Michigan mitten.
Oh yeah, it's like even.
I mean, I'm exaggerating. I don't really need the mittens. I'm not that cold, but I thought it was funny. Nobody's watching at the moment. It's like that thing, right? Dance like nobody's watching.
Yes. Do all of your podcasts like no one's watching.
Podcasts like no one's watching. You know who's watching? Well, they may not be watching, but
Restream's watching. They're always watching.
Yeah, because they're always trying to add better channels to our music channel.
Add that music.
Be listening to this now. So I found out today that one of my clients is a subscriber now.
Oh, that's.
It's funny. We were talking to a friend last night, right? That we will wait to divulge until another future episode. Who mentioned that we should be inviting our clients onto the podcast. And so I was like, who do I pick first? But that could be fun.
And lo and behold, you find out that one of them is actually subscribing and listening, and that's
we had a meeting, a Zoom today, a digital virtual meeting. It wasn't actually a Zoom, so I don't want to name drop, but they were teasing me about my audio quality sounds so good on this virtual call, and I was like, the pandemic taught us how to get good microphones and this and that. He's like, sounds just as good as the Coffee Sketch podcast. And I was like, oh, okay,
sweet.
You're paying attention. And he said, well, you gotta know who you're working with. What's that?
That's sly. I appreciate that. That's a nice way to,
Yeah.
By the way, I know exactly what you do in your free time.
Yeah. And so, this is 145. It's pretty exciting. We're climbing the episode ladder, and it's. Somehow it feels exciting. I don't know the 145, but like the number it's a substantial chunk.
Yes.
But while we're in the green room, because I don't want to get into fisticuffs in the live or in the actual episode.
Oh, are they with me or were they with other people?
No, it's probably gonna might be something with you, because this is now the sports podcast.
Oh.
And the day we feared has arrived. Almost.
We've been teasing it. We have been teasing it. Yes.
And I mean, this is for the Lions. It's 32 years in the making, something like that, since the last time. And 57 years since the Detroit Lions won a Super Bowl. I think it was 57 years or 1957. I don't know. I'm losing my dates. Nevertheless, the Lions are playing the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship, which means I'm in Michigan. Here's the mitten, pointing at the mitten. Jamie is not in California, but a Niners fan because he used to live he grew up on the Niners, and so I give him.
And I like how Kurt, in a moment there, was like, "Do my hands look like California?
Can I do the?
Can I do California? Can I make California out of my hands?"
It would have to be.
It would be. There's like a kink in it, right? Oh,
but then
this
there's
way.
like the Baja.
No, it's this way.
And then
the
peninsula.
Oh yeah, you need like a pinky to do Baja.
You forgot about Baja. It's big counts. So I'm a little stressed. I gotta say I cannot root for San Fran. I'm sorry.
Well, no, of course not.
The Lions, I mean, I can't. I mean, we're friends, but I mean, I can't. I just can't. Even I'm wearing some blue and white right now, blue and silver. Can't do it.
I mean, I was rooting for the Lions to win so that this could happen, as well as the fact that their head coach is an Aggie.
Is it really Dan Campbell? I missed that.
Oh yeah,
that's
big
cool.
Time. Yep.
Hey, he's done a lot. He's
done
a lot for the Lions. We're all pretty happy right now.
Yeah, no, you can't argue with the passion, leadership, and coaching that he's brought to that organization. Yeah, like kudos to that, and I mean, in all honesty too, I mean, just even their path to where they are, the teams that they've matched up with, it's been exciting, and yeah, this weekend's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I know people watching probably are like, this has nothing to do with coffee or sketching, but
no. But this is the green room. This is the sports podcast. We have these moments. Yeah.
It's back to the green room, but it's
that's the reminder. That's the reminder.
Exciting. We're gonna. Did I tell you the? I don't know if I will go, but so Michigan's having a great year so far, right? The state of Michigan, because University of Michigan won the national championship, which I did go to here in Flint. The local Capitol Theater, which is a historic landmark, hosted a watch party for free to watch the Michigan game, which was a lot of fun. It's a very Art Deco, beautiful old theater
with the
constellations in the ceiling.
There you go.
Is that what you're pointing at?
That's what I'm pointing at.
John Eberson design. Atmospheric theater, I think
that's the architecture that we just inserted right there into the green room and the sports podcast, the subreddit,
the serious stuff.
Yeah,
but they're hosting a watch party for the NFC Championship. But I might actually instead get together with some neighbor friends. My one neighbor, he was like, they didn't let him in and out. Like, he wanted to go outside, to smoke and, not to, whatever, it's not a big deal. So, it was cool. We watched the Michigan game, but, now we're going to mix it up. So, drinks weren't free. I mean, the seats were free, but the drinks weren't free. So I'll tell you that I don't mind saving a few bucks.
The drinks aren't free at home either.
Yeah, but they're a lot cheaper.
But they might be cheaper, yes.
The walk.
Yeah, unless there's something you haven't told me about your new house in Flint, and you've got some kind of like distillery in the back where you're.
No. Oh, that would be nice. Then we would have a whole other podcast to talk about.
Right.
So yeah, so there's the Lions. We're excited here in Michigan. I know you're excited.
Hell yeah.
The Niners.
I mean, it's been a crazy season. Like
lose, but
Oh. No.
It's tense, man. It's tense. Although, I'm not playing, so I guess it's not that.
So,
intense.
Are you hinting at, by bringing this up? You've been teasing it for several green rooms, several episodes leading up to this. We knew this was going to happen, is this all about like a pre-Super Bowl bet, or do you like, or do you?
Well,
You still have some thoughts about last year that you need to kind of settle up on, but
yeah. Well, I don't know yet. I don't want to jinx it.
It's Thursday.
Count chickens before they hatch.
I mean, it is Thursday. The game is, on Sunday. So you have a little bit of time between now and then. But all I'm telling you is that there will be a constant stream of text messages from me during the game. So just prepare yourself now. And that's regardless.
That has tears. That's the one, right?
Is that? I thought that's the first one in your queue. So.
Or like the brain explosion. As in, did you see Jared Goff throw that amazing touchdown pass to the USC Trojan Amon-Ra St. Brown,
who is quite good, I will say. Yes.
Loaded with talent. Niners too. That guy Brock Purdy ain't too shabby.
Yeah, I mean,
is he rookie too?
No.
Oh no. Okay.
But he's about 12. I think he's at least 12 years old. So.
I know, it's crazy. There a lot of them are very young people, but yeah. I guess we're gonna put ourselves into an era. We don't want to get into talking about age.
No.
Between you and me. So otherwise I don't know what else. Any other green room casual thoughts?
I want to know. I want to hear a score.
Oh man, for Sunday.
Mm-hmm. I want to hear I want to hear a solid score prediction from
Lions
Mr.
21.
Lions.
San Francisco 17.
21-7. Really?
It's going to be low and close.
What's the weather going to be like? Do you know?
Well, it's in San Francisco.
I know it's in San Francisco, but what's the weather going to be like?
I imagine it's better than we have a dome here in Michigan, but I don't know. I don't know what that weather be like.
I'm going to go. I think it's going to be. I think
Levi's Stadium's open air, right?
It's open air, but I do think it's going to be close. I do think both offenses can be high powered. Their defenses both are very, very good as well. But I think it's going to come down to as much as I don't like to say it, I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. But that's the way you want it to be. In that kind of a championship game, you want it to come down to the end. I'm going to go 27-24 San Francisco over the Lions.
Yeah. I wish we had little icons we could splash on the screen, but
yeah,
maybe in post.
In post, we just hit that button.
Scores. Kind of like
sound effects. Yeah,
I just created my own.
Yes.
I'm gonna snip that, and we're gonna use that in like an Instagram reel or something.
Okay.
Story. Oh man.
In the other matchup, who do you think has it? Chiefs Ravens.
Oh man.
In Baltimore.
I watched the Baltimore game, and they looked pretty good.
I mean, Lamar Jackson is like a man on a mission.
Lit it up.
Oh, he just someone before the season told him, I think you're overrated or something, and he
put
just
a chip on his shoulder. Yeah.
He didn't say anything to them. He just took it personally and just he's like, I'm going out and I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish you every week from now on until the Super Bowl.
I mean, I think Baltimore is going to, I mean, Mahomes has been there before, but I don't know. Lamar, I mean, he scored 4 touchdowns by himself last week, but I mean, well, 2 throwing and 2 running. I mean,
Right.
basically responsible for 28 points. So,
And then sat for the last few minutes.
did they pull him?
I think didn't they pull him, or was that the
Well, I mean, it basically was a blowout. I mean, not a blowout, but it was NFL. It was decided.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was over.
But I mean, the Chiefs, who seem to be sort of stumbling into the playoffs a little bit, are clearly a different team in the playoffs, right? I mean, Patrick Mahomes, like you tell him it's week 17 of the regular season, and he's good. He's still like who he is. But then you tell him it's like the playoffs, and like I don't know if the word like he's like a trigger or something like that, but it is another level for him as well. But I'm kind of with you. I think the Ravens have him. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, another close game, but I think it's going to be the Ravens over the Chiefs.
Well, I'm not too sure about the closeness, man. I mean, if Lamar Jackson was on top of it like he was last week, plus their defense. I mean, man.
Well, I think that's a variable, right? Is that their defense of all the defenses of the 4 remaining might be the scariest. So, but yeah,
They got a Harbaugh.
all 4. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
I like the sports. So
it's a good set of finals.
Yeah,
semifinals, whichever. But yeah, we got some good matchups, some good scoring, and so good stories, good storyline.
Yep.
So that was pretty painless, peaceful. No bloodshed so far.
No bloodshed in the green room.
We'll see what we talk about next week. Who's crying?
Oh, okay.
So you wanna move into the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay then. Oh, Sammy. Oh, sorry. Before we go into the show, cousin Sam. What did he say? He mentioned what is it? I missed some chats. I apologize, people. It would be a sunk cost. What did he mean by that? Well, we will have to come back to that one. The chat's leaving me with some questions. All right, Jamie, I'm gonna hit the go. Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
How are you? Are you crying yet? Are you crying?
Not yet, sir. Game's on Sunday.
Okay.
Lions to be victors.
No.
They will be tears of joy.
No. No, it's going to be. I'm sorry. Niners, buddy. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll still be friends, right? I hope.
Yeah. We could still. It's the sports. It's okay.
It's the classic. It will become a classic rivalry at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else? What else is what's been going on? Are you
still wearing the mittens? Are you wearing the mittens? No. Okay.
That was green room stuff, man. We're in the show. It's professional all the way.
So, always. We haven't done a weather update in a while on the podcast. This is episode 145, folks.
Yeah.
Season 6, meaning year 6. We don't do those like, let's call 10 episodes in the middle of the year a season. What's that all about? So we've been doing this for a while. So how is it in Flint?
Actually, judging by the beanie that I'm wearing, it would look like it's much colder than it is, but it's actually in the upper 30s today with rain. After a whole week of 5 degrees, so climate change. Go figure, right? So it's warmed up, but honestly, with this old house, I got the this old house thing going on. When it's like in the 40s, 30, it's hard for the furnace doesn't actually know what to do because there's that heat exchange between the indoor and the outdoor, and so these what they normally it would be like fall, spring, kind of temperature, those shoulder seasons, as they say. Some people say, when the indoor temperature of the house is still like makes me want to put a hat on.
What does a shoulder season mean? Is that like a garment thing? Like I want to reveal my shoulder or not? I'm not sure. What
I think it has to do with like those in between, the fall, spring.
Tank is not convinced that this is all like a colloquial.
She calls BS.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you are more direct than I.
She got me.
Yeah.
No,
she's a little older. I try and be sensitive with the language around her. So
happy birthday, Tink. 13.
Yes, 13. She's still like a puppy. So
how's the weather down there? I bet you it's about the same temperature as is up here.
We are in we actually warmed up suddenly, but it had been awfully cold for a while, and kind of almost I shouldn't say unseasonably cold. It's Texas. Who knows? Texas doesn't know. Texas is a little drunk like on the weather. This time of year. So I will tell you though, a week ago today, I was on the road for work and started my day. It was a day trip, but a really long day trip with my team. So started my day here in Austin. It was a nice, balmy 32, 33 year, or so. And then, we started our day really, really early. Got in the car, started driving, went and visited a city southeast of here. And by the afternoon, when we were done doing our kind of workshop lecture portion of the presentations, we did sort of a walking tour. And of course, it was a nice 72 degrees outside.
Wow.
When we were doing our walking tour. So and then, by the time I got home, it was, starting to drop again. But like a 40-degree difference, and I hadn't really gone anywhere. So, crazy.
That's extreme swing.
40 degrees. In one day.
Planning for winter, ending in summer.
Yeah. So no, I think it's like mid 50s today, and I think we're going to hover around here, in the 40s to 60s for the next couple of days. So, which is a pretty typical like Texas winter time, moving into spring. But we certainly could drop again and do all the craziness and whatever. But last week on Thursday, that was pure Texas drunk weather. So.
Well, let's chalk it up to climate change, and all the I don't know how to even describe it. It's just unpredictable weather. So Yeah, I mean, it's, for a week that was in, the last thing I'll say on weather, I mean, it just to, I guess, illustrate climate change, for Michigan to go from 2, 4, 6, degrees, yeah, to 40. It was like almost 40 today. And like, that's not normal. 40 is not normal for January in Michigan. It should be around 25, 30, 40 degrees too much. Anyway, can't explain it. So
All that to say is that you got to pay attention.
to the thermostat. So what's in the cup, Jamie? As you're
It's the Timmies. We've gone back to the Timmies.
I passed by Tim Hortons the other day after, I guess, the last time we recorded.
Maple glazed. That's all I got to say.
Hey, I can agree with that on you, or I can agree with you on that. As the we can't agree on football, but we can agree on.
We can agree on the maple glazed. I mean that. I think like you can have your eye on anything else in that location. You could be like, I need a cup of coffee, or I need like a breakfast sandwich, or whatever you. I just need a restaurant. I'm stopping at the Timmy's to go, whatever. But get in that door, and those maple glazed donuts are just talking to you. You don't need
Timbits. You like Timbits?
Just one.
What about but the Timbits? A little.
Yeah, well, I know where we are. So
you can get them 10 in a box, 20.
I'm just saying, like, someone, put the rumor in my feed of something. I don't remember which channel. Maybe it was the actual news, but they said that Tim Hortons was planning a location in Texas and in Austin. And, lo and behold, we don't have it yet, or I'm not aware of it. So someone was lying to me.
Wasn't me.
No.
I'll tell you that. I'm not a liar.
but I will tell you, my first thing I get when I go to that Timmy's is going to be
maple glaze.
Yes,
maple glaze. I wouldn't blame you. I love a donut. Love a good donut.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm not a sweets person, but there's a couple things that are just sort of, there you gotta have something. So
Speaking of sweets, this guy Jamie shared an old picture of us in New Orleans at Cafe Du Monde.
Oh yes,
having one of the most fantastic beignets ever. Oh my god, there's so much powdered sugar. It looked like a mountain of snow.
Did it make you just smile just seeing that?
Yeah. I missed. As messy as that snack was, I mean, you pick that thing up and there's just powdered sugars all over everywhere.
And hella good coffee. Hella good coffee.
Oh yeah.
So
that was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Too bad we can't go back under the same committee work. We'll have to find another excuse to go back.
Yeah, that would be worth it for sure. It
was a nice walk, especially in February. It was like a February trip, so
it wasn't too bad. Yeah,
nice and warm. Anyway, there was something else I was going to bring up, and I kind of forgot. But I guess for me, I am still working through the French roast bag of coffee that I had, but I just picked up another rootless bag of damn fine cup of coffee.
Ooh.
The OG, because you can never go wrong with the original. So it's probably going to happen tomorrow. First in, first out. Gotta finish what I've started. So
I don't know what that meant, but it sounded
for anyone who's ever worked in a supermarket, first in, first out. It means the it's how you keep the dates in line, right?
You worked in a
Yeah.
supermarket?
Oh yeah, as a high schooler, yeah.
I worked at
Stocking
Target.
shelves, running the
Yeah,
cash register and all that.
same, but Target. So before they had
They
a
never taught
supermarket.
you the first in, first out? The FIFO?
I didn't know
FIFO?
that. No, no. I just remember the guy that like was working there and had been there for a few years and liked to sleep in the stock room. Like he had sort of made his own little nest amidst.
There's a movie that they like live in the racks of show.
I didn't ask. I didn't ask. Other employees like whether or not this was a trend, like a constant thing or a new thing or like just a really bad Thursday or what. But
Wow. That was a strange tangent that we just went on, but
always,
we find a
always with
way.
us. Like
Find a
it
way.
was funny was, we were talking with a friend and they were asking us, I don't know if it was you or if I think it was the prompt to me, but it's like, Jamie, what's something that Kurt doesn't know about you? And I was like, ooh, but yeah, so there's one that you didn't know about me. Target.
Yeah.
Target. Yeah.
Target. Is that the universal pronunciation?
Oh, it totally
Target.
is. I mean, Target. Yeah. I mean, and it's what's fun is that like when I go back and see my folks, uh, I've I'll at Christmas time I took my dad over there because like we had to get some stuff like last minute, and as we're driving over, I was like, Dad, you remember when I used to work here? He's like, oh yeah, like you had some weird experiences, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, so yeah.
Were they unionized?
Oh
The
gosh, no.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I did all my supermarket work in Connecticut, and I
Yeah, but
I
that's
was
the point, Kirk. Right? So there's like a thing, right, in the U.S. Like there's like a line, right,
mhm.
and
There's a
all
lot of
the things
lines
that yes, there are a lot of lines, and a lot of the things that you're talking about don't exist in a certain part of the country.
south of that line.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah, it is kind of different worlds, and even for this Canadian, um,
hats coming on.
I was saying I was saying even for this Canadian, those weird
There's a lot of
differences.
lines you cross.
Oh boy, yeah.
We don't need to get into labor relations and all that stuff because
No, but okay. So back
it's
to your
not
supermarket
my.
though. Did you also have like those couple people on the staff who were like also the designated like plant security people, like who were like they were plain clothed but they were in the store,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and they those were always the
yeah,
sketchiest people though. Like
yeah.
when I'm in
They
high
always had
school,
like some sort of tactical flashlight or something,
right?
and it's like you're giving yourself away, even though you're
Yeah,
wearing like a beige polo and blue jeans.
yeah, because I mean, like you're like 16 years old, you're working at this store, and you're going through all the training stuff, and they're like, oh, and Joe and Jill and Bob over here, yeah, they're going to be around, and you're like, are they security? Because they look like security. And like, no, no, but they're wearing jeans and whatever, and but then they've got that, like you said, like that tactical lamp, like stuck in their back pocket. They're ready to. I don't know what they're doing with it, but
Yeah, that I totally forgot. What a funny we're hitting all kinds of highlights
oh yeah,
from
from the
years
way
ago,
back. Yeah.
pointing
So
pointing in the way back.
what's fun for me now is like when I'm shopping by myself and I have no schedule. Like I don't need to be anywhere. Like I will admit in my old age that where I'm reminiscing in my own brain, I'll be in that Target or a similar store here in Austin, and I'll be like, that's a plane. I started trying to pick them out.
I'm gonna go do that now because I totally
It's a
forgot
fun.
about them.
It's like your own video game in your brain.
Although,
So,
Danielle used to do some retail work, and they used to, like, she used to watch people put stuff in their purses, because she did Sephora,
yeah.
and they were like, just let them go, just let them go.
Not
So
it. Not
they're just maybe the policy might have changed in certain,
Yeah.
but
I bet at that supermarket or that Target, if somebody made it out the door with and that buzzer went off, those
oh yeah,
plane they were waiting. They've been
they were
waiting for.
dashing.
They were
Oh,
dashing.
they
They've been
also
waiting
had
for
like
weeks.
those tactical boots too. That's how you
Yeah.
also knew. So
Oh,
they had traction.
they were waiting for weeks for that one moment, like their one moment in the sun.
I remember working one time, at least once, where I saw them chase somebody out the door, and then call the cops and all that. Anyway, it's like a very old memory that Jamie just
Yeah,
unearthed.
it's totally dumb, but
It has nothing to do with the sketch that we're going to talk about today.
God, no,
Not necessarily. We
or the
had all the
coffee
intents and
or anything
purposes
else.
of of maintaining a thread of thought, but that's okay.
There is absolutely no transition at this point. So
But yeah, so that's that's what you're saying is like maybe we should just move on to
yeah,
talk.
yeah,
Oh, well, we're gonna focus on just one sketch here. So, I mean, but it is worth noting that our friend Tink, friend of the podcast,
friend of the podcast.
furry friend of the podcast,
Yes,
has been memorialized in a sketch because it is her birthday.
yeah,
Happy birthday, Tink. She's probably dying for the episode to be over.
yeah.
Right?
She's a pretty girl. She's very good girl. So she's
But
also ready for this to be over,
yeah,
so we can
ready
go do
for
other stuff. Yeah,
yeah, a little Jamie and Tinkerbell time.
yeah,
So to support the birthday of Tinkerbell and all of those wishes, we can dive into so we're just after Martin Luther King Day. Um, you know, timing wise, it's not our forte, but we're always, there's always a sketch from Jamie around the MLK holiday. Or could it be, is it called a holiday? I don't want to sound inside. I mean, because, all the national, what holidays?
yeah. I mean, it's a federal holiday. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
But, like holiday is usually, I don't know, I associate with
But I
the
mean, it's
word school.
memorializing. Yeah.
Memorialize.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's memorializing like an individual
So,
of extreme note.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, regardless of, forget what Kurt said, but so Jamie recreated, well, not recreated necessarily, but, uh, has a new sketch of the MLK statue, which is this is the one in DC, right? The newer one.
Yeah, this is in DC, on the right, and it's so this is sort of two sketches, and I think we talk about process a lot, and this was a situation where I've done the one on the right before, and I tried to do this one in a different mode and different style, than I have done before for it. So this is the actual memorial on the right, and it's one that I visited multiple times. I love, but I think that I was thinking about that day, or thinking of on that day, and this was drawn on that day, but I was thinking about it also in relationship to our words and sort of our sort of discussion of things, related to, kind of where we are, what we've been thinking about projecting into the new year. And, for those who, want to go down the rabbit hole on, art, architecture, controversy. In a previous podcast, we've talked about the Martin Luther King statue, the most recent one, the one in Boston, which I think honestly is a remarkable statue, and I got to visit it last year. Felt very fortunate to be able to kind of spend and appropriately spend some time in that space. And there was a lot of criticism of it because of its abstraction and the way it was sort of rendered. But a lot of folks don't realize is that also this monument in D.C., Washington, D.C. on the Mall, also had some controversy associated with it. And I think I bring it up from the standpoint of this particular sketch renders the profile of Dr. King kind of coming out of the mountain or a part of that mountain, and sort of very stoic and stately and strong, and but it's a really, really interesting rendering of him. And on the side of it, there's these striations, and every time I draw this, I try and draw the striations differently, trying to render them in a different kind of way. This time I was really deliberate about trying to render the whole image with some striations, kind of leaning on that idea of the sky and the ground, and how I do those in a very sort of stylized way. I buffered the two, sky versus ground, with this kind of scribble of the environment that surrounds this memorial on the Mall. So like there's these, beautiful outcroppings of some trees and vegetation that sort of almost sort of, you have to go and find it. It's not hard to find, but you kind of go on a little path to go find it. And part of it is that they want you to enter this space in a very particular way. And that's a very architecture-y type thing to be talking about. Architecture-y. I haven't used that word in a while.
Yeah,
but it's because of this quote. And it's, out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope. It's this cut, that's rendered in the monument itself. And that pathway is really, really deliberate and really important, both to the monument itself and the memory and sort of the things it's supposed to evoke, but also the space itself. And so every time I draw this, I try and do it a little different, trying to think about what it means to be in that space. I've drawn it in person before. This one in particular was done from a photo that I had. But
well, it's nice because it's a little more zoomed out. Like some of the earlier or previous sketches of this monument that you've done that we've talked about are a little more zoomed in detail, or a sort of a vignette in a way, which would just sort of kind of push in a little closer. So gathering the context and the way you described, like the scribbling of the trees and the landscape beyond, in between, the layers of the sky and the ground, and the nature of the stone. And your point on the approach is something that got my attention, because I am always trying to explain to my students about the buildings they design don't sit, they don't sit on a generic rectangle of land. There's always a context, and then your design shouldn't stop at the edge of the property line or the edge of the building from interior to exterior. It needs to show how you're addressing the properties or roads, or the adjacent parts, things that are adjacent to the building. and choreographing the approach is that's your chance. If you don't think through those things, then there's really you have no chance to sort of prescribe a path. And not that you have full control, but you at least have an opportunity to like identify a particular approach to the building.
Well,
And
I
this
like
is a sculpture, but
right.
yeah.
I like that you use the word choreograph, because I think that's it to me, when someone uses the word choreograph and the fact that you just did it, the minute I hear that, I think about movement. Because to me, it's going to like my penchant for ballet and dance and music and things like that, and um, and trying to understand that, how that works and how that's an inspiration for things. But like you're describing it, it's an opportunity to choreograph, this experience for folks, in a particular space. You're creating a place, like arguably, you've been hired, tasked, whatever, with this particular building, space, monument in this location. Okay, here's my parameters. This is where I'm setting this thing. But you're doing yourself a disservice, like you're describing, if you don't think about how does someone get there. Which way are they coming to this place? What am I giving them glimpses of? And are there's extra things that I can impart in that experience to them, or try to, and I think that's the whole thing. We're also seeking that as designers, creatives, whatever. And I think this in particular is really successful. What I didn't say in my sort of lead up to this was the controversy associated with this monument was that there was another quote that ended up being removed, and it was removed because it was a partial quote, and it really didn't gather the full context. It wasn't that it wasn't that the meaning was off, but it didn't convey and didn't really associate itself at the end of the day with this one that I'm rendering here, where it has the power of the words working with the sculpture, working with the choreographing of the spaces that you're talking about. And I think in the end, wiser eyes said, maybe we need to, not just recarve the quote in its entirety or something like that, but maybe we just need to remove it altogether.
Wow. Did they chisel it off or something like that?
The artist chiseled it off. It ended up
Wow.
coming back and removing it.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. That's other. I mean, aside from the controversy, like the tectonic, uh, the technical task of editing a finished product, which normally as architects, as a building, you don't we don't get into that level of revision in real space or the real thing, but kind of interesting. I mean, it's a sculpture, right? So there's
Right.
differences and things like that. But yeah.
I was curious, what did you think about these two sketches when you saw them sort of side by side? Because the other one is drastically different. I haven't done one like this in a long time, or at least posted one like this in a long time. What sort of thoughts, musings, my co-host curator?
Well, the line weight work of the sketch on the right, which is the sculpture, is just great. Actually, I did, like we talked about, my doing this sketch thing with my systems students, and they are. I actually challenged them to do a contour line last week. So it was a lot of fun. So there's some contour going on. I mean, you've got some nuance and finesse to it. But the left, my dog Ellie is being annoying and actually scratching at the door, which never is a thing. So, do I ignore or do I power on?
I think you power through this quick
Let's,
analysis, and
let's,
then
yeah,
we're so close.
we're close to tying a nice bow on it. Thank you, Ellie. So, but yeah, when I noticed the drawing on the left is a lot more rendered, and I zoomed in a little bit, but down below you can see, which is always fun. You always you show your tools, implements within the sketch too. So you get some pastel or Conte crayon on top of pencil, and just the texture in the left sketch is just really bold, and it's actually not something like you said, not something you've done recently, but actually doesn't look a lot like your sketching, your normal sketches, because it has this extra layer of material, or I guess the various colored pastels or crayon. What is it, Conte?
Conte, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I love that you say it doesn't, like, that you're sort of struggling to say, like, I haven't seen you do this in a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's true. I think what I had a moment moving between, and then both of these are done in the same setting, or the same sitting. So I did the one on the right first, and had thought to myself, if I'm up for it, I'm going to try and do a portrait profile of King, but render it with completely different implements. And the monument itself has this, stylized. It's all one material. The mountain, the man, all of it is carved in stone. So it's all one material. So everything that you're seeing in terms of the rendering techniques in pencil is it's intended to evoke shade and shadow. It's not about actual texture or anything else. And what I thought to myself was like, okay, I can do that. And that sort of figure field monument idea. Can I in the same breath sort of switch gears and say, let me try and render this more like a portrait, and try and get real hues, highlights on the skin, highlights on his eyelids and his nose, and all these things that you see, that when you see a portrait rendered in sort of a Conte crayon or a pastel, there's a multitude of layers to those colors that we associate, with a portrait, and kind of that make it feel like it's jumping off the page, that there's some life behind that, and where it's not a memorial, where it's not a monument.
It's definitely more I don't know if it, lack of a better term, but it's painterly, right? It has a lot more of a uh, painted layered effect, and like you said, yeah, pops or jumps off the page a little bit more because of the. So, did you take? Is that how long did that one take?
Oh, the one on the left was probably me sitting with it for another. So the one on the right that's 15 minutes. The one on the left is another half an hour.
Okay.
And and some of that is me just sort of sitting there staring at it too, honestly. But painterly, that's, I think you hit the term on the head. I mean, that's better than I was able to describe it a minute ago. So I like that.
Oh, well, that's why we're here. But no, I didn't. I mean, to me, it didn't seem like exactly, but it at least it's the best term I could come up with that kind of describes the difference between, say, the sketch form that we see a little more regularly, and so it's beautiful. Um, uh, uh, Portrait, I guess, as you described it, um, with a lot of energy in it, and so a lot of saturation, I guess, but light and dark and things like that. So yeah, it's just both great for the year of or the this year's version of the MLK sketch, which yeah, thanks. I got nothing else, Jamie. You rendered
Yeah,
speechless.
I painterly stop on painterly, and that's
Painter.
it. We're good. Thanks,
Okay.
buddy.
Well, that's the good part. We can edit that part out. All right. So let me find the right button there.